Kevin Stefanski feels like his job may be on the line?
I don't concern myself with outside type of things. But I'm committed to his development, just like all of our rookies. So we'll continue to focus on getting our guys better. And that's what we'll stay committed to, and that's what's important to me.
And so you didn't get this man a fighting chance to compete. He went into a gunfight with 2 knives. He gonna lose that every time.
You know you're going to waive Tyler Huntley. So what good did that 2-minute drive do for him? Was it going to help him? Don't you think Shedeur would have benefited more from a 2-minute drive than Tyler Huntley?
And did you, I'm sure you kind of answered this last night, but why didn't you keep him in for the 2-minute, or why did you decide to take him out?
Yeah, nothing more than decided to give Snoop.
The fans gonna be saying, Shedeur our quarterback. Shedeur should be our starter. Shedeur should be the guy that starts game 1, week 1. Look what he did. They didn't want that to happen. And I don't know what's going on with Kevin Stefanski. It's almost as if, and I don't even want to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Like when he played well the first game, he was so off-putting, like, oh yeah, well, we'll see what happens next. Like, he played great, man. He exceeded our expectations. He didn't say none of that. And
right.
So to me, it's as if they want him to fail so they can justify doing what they want to do.
What a COVID year. So it gave everybody an extra year if you wanted it.
Understandable. But listen,
what the chat say? The chat believe he took a shot or no?
Let me look in the chat. I ain't even open my phone. Hold on. I'm curious to see what the chat would think. They are saying,
I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened. By the way, Shedeur continues to be treated in the National Football League now by those sorry-ass Browns and sorry-ass Kevin Stefanski.
When they're at practice, Shedeur Sanders is not their priority. When he is at practice, he was staying hours beforehand, leaving hours later.
You won't believe what just happened to Kevin Stefanski. The Cleveland Browns head coach is now facing the biggest crisis of his career, and it all centers around one explosive question. Did he deliberately sabotage Shedeur Sanders? Right now, as I'm recording this, fans are calling for his head, former players are speaking out, and the evidence is mounting that this isn't just poor coaching, this might be intentional discrimination. I've analyzed every press conference, every game decision, and every behind-the-scenes report, and what I discovered will shock you. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Stefanski's job is hanging by a thread and why this scandal could change the Browns forever. What you're about to see is a complete breakdown of how a promising quarterback's career was nearly destroyed by what appears to be coaching bias. Kevin Stefanski, the man who was supposed to develop Shedeur Sanders, instead created a situation so toxic that even former NFL players are calling it sabotage. We're going to examine 3 critical pieces of evidence. First, the damning press conference where Stefanski's body language revealed everything. Second, the game decisions that make no sense unless you understand the hidden agenda. And third, the explosive reactions from NFL insiders who've never seen anything like this before. This isn't just about football. This is about fairness, opportunity, and what happens when personal bias destroys professional integrity. And here's what makes this even more shocking. The very coach trying to push Shedeur out might be the one who gets fired instead. Let me show you the exact moment Kevin Stefanski's facade cracked. When reporters pressed him about pulling Shedeur Sanders before the crucial 2-minute drill, something extraordinary happened. A seasoned NFL coach, someone who's faced the media hundreds of times, completely fell apart. Watch his body language in this clip. I don't concern myself with outside types of things. I'm committed to his development just like all of our rookies. Did you hear that stutter? Did you see how his eyes darted away from the camera? This is a man who knows he's been caught. But here's what makes this even more revealing. When asked directly why he didn't keep Shedeur in for the 2-minute drill, Stefanski's response was devastating. Yeah, nothing more than decided to give Snoop. He couldn't even finish the sentence properly. Tyler Snoop Huntley, a quarterback who was literally an emergency signing, someone who wasn't even expected to make the roster, got the crucial playing time instead of the team's potential franchise quarterback. Think about this logically for a moment. You have a 2-minute drill, the perfect scenario for a young quarterback to showcase his decision-making under pressure, his arm talent, and his leadership skills. This is exactly the kind of situation that helps develop a rookie. Instead, Stefanski chose to give those precious snaps to a player who everyone knew was just filling a temporary gap. The decision makes no football sense whatsoever unless you understand what's really happening here. But the most damning evidence isn't what Stefanski said, it's how he said it. Former Browns player TJ Houshmandzadeh, who knows this organization inside and out, made a chilling observation. In my experience with the Browns, I've never seen a coach actively not want a player to succeed. Let that sink in. A veteran who's seen multiple coaching staffs, multiple quarterbacks, multiple situations, has never witnessed anything like Stefanski's treatment of Shedeur Sanders. The press conference revealed something else crucial: Stefanski's sudden change in tone. Throughout the preseason, he'd been dismissive of Shedeur's accomplishments, offering lukewarm responses even after outstanding performances. But now, facing mounting pressure, he's claiming he's committed to his development. This dramatic shift isn't growth, it's damage control. It's the response of someone who realizes the walls are closing in. What makes this press conference a smoking gun is the timing. This wasn't a planned statement or a prepared response. This was Stefanski being caught off guard, forced to explain decisions that can't be logically explained. His visible discomfort, his inability to provide coherent reasoning, and his defensive posture all point to one conclusion: he knows his treatment of Shedeur Sanders has been indefensible, and now he's scrambling to save his own career. Now let's examine the game decisions that expose the true agenda. What happened to Shedeur Sanders wasn't just poor coaching, it was systematic sabotage disguised as roster management. The evidence is overwhelming when you analyze the pattern of decisions that no rational coach would make if they actually wanted their quarterback to succeed. First, let's talk about the offensive line situation. When Shedeur was on the field, he was playing behind linemen who weren't even considered roster-worthy. These weren't just backup players, these were guys who had their contracts terminated immediately after the game. Think about that timeline. Stefanski puts Shedeur behind an offensive line that he knows is so inadequate that he's planning to cut them, then uses Shedeur's struggles as justification for his limited playing time. It's like sending someone into battle with broken weapons, then criticizing them for losing the fight. Sports analyst Ocho Cinco made a brilliant point that exposes this strategy. Even Tom Brady would have struggled in that situation with that caliber of players around him. This isn't hyperbole, it's football reality. Quarterback success is directly tied to protection, and Stefanski deliberately provided Shedeur with the worst possible protection. Meanwhile, when other quarterbacks got their opportunities, they played with the actual roster players, the guys who were expected to make the team. But here's where it gets even more sinister. The 2-minute drill decision wasn't just bad coaching, it was strategic sabotage. 2-minute drills are where young quarterbacks shine. It's fast-paced, it requires quick decision-making, and it showcases exactly the skills that Shedeur Sanders is known for. This should have been his moment to demonstrate why he deserves more playing time. Instead, Stefanski pulled him for Tyler Huntley, a quarterback who everyone knew was just a temporary placeholder. The timing of this decision is crucial. Shedeur had been building momentum, getting comfortable with the offense, starting to find his rhythm. The 2-minute drill would have been the perfect capstone to his performance, the moment that could have shifted the entire narrative around his readiness. Stefanski knew this, which is exactly why he made sure it didn't happen. Former NFL players are calling this out because they recognize the pattern. Skip Bayless didn't mince words. "I'm outraged, I'm sickened, and I'm saddened by the way Shedeur continues to be treated." This isn't just criticism of one decision, It's recognition of a systematic approach designed to undermine a player's confidence and development. The most telling aspect of these decisions is their consistency. This wasn't a one-time mistake or a momentary lapse in judgment. Every major decision regarding Shedeur Sanders followed the same pattern: minimize his opportunities, maximize his challenges, then use the predictable struggles as justification for continued limited opportunities. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and Stefanski orchestrated every step of it. What makes this even more damaging is that these decisions weren't made in isolation. They were made in front of teammates, coaches, and the entire organization, sending a clear message about Shedeur's value in Stefanski's eyes. The reaction from NFL insiders, former players, and analysts has been unprecedented, and it's creating pressure that Stefanski and the Browns organization can no longer ignore. What started as criticism of coaching decisions has evolved into a full-scale indictment of the Browns' handling of young talent, and the voices speaking out carry serious weight in the football world. TJ Houshmandzadeh's comments weren't just criticism, they were a warning shot from someone who understands the Browns organization intimately. When he said, "It's almost as if they want him to fail so they can justify doing what they want to do," he wasn't speculating. He was identifying a pattern based on years of experience with this franchise. His observation that Stefanski showed obvious bias and his prediction that the pressure on the Browns organization to fire Stefanski will only grow is already proving prophetic. But TJ wasn't alone. The chorus of criticism has been building from multiple directions, each voice adding credibility to the narrative that something is fundamentally wrong with how Shedeur Sanders has been treated. Ocho Cinco's analysis went beyond just defending Shedeur. He exposed the systematic nature of the sabotage by pointing out how the supporting cast was deliberately inadequate. When a respected analyst says that even Tom Brady would have struggled in those conditions, it shifts the conversation from questioning Shedeur's ability to questioning Stefanski's intentions. Skip Bayless brought national attention to the situation with his emotional response, calling the treatment the worst possible way to manage a player. His platform reaches millions of NFL fans, and his passionate defense of Shedeur has amplified the pressure on the Browns exponentially. When someone of Skip's stature uses words like outraged and sickened, it forces the organization to respond. Bush added another crucial perspective by highlighting Shedeur's work ethic and dedication. His observation that Shedeur was staying hours beforehand, leaving hours later while still not being treated as a priority exposes the disconnect between effort and opportunity. This narrative is particularly damaging because it shows that Shedeur did everything right. The failure was entirely on the coaching staff side. The cumulative effect of these voices is creating a crisis of credibility for Stefanski. These aren't random critics or biased observers. These are people with deep NFL knowledge, extensive experience, and nothing to gain from defending Shedeur Sanders except their commitment to fairness and proper player development. Their unified message is clear. What happened to Shedeur Sanders was wrong, and Kevin Stefanski is responsible. What makes this backlash particularly powerful is its timing. It's happening during a period when the Browns are already under scrutiny for their quarterback decisions and overall team management. The organization can't afford to ignore this level of criticism, especially when it's coming from respected voices in the football community. The pressure is now so intense that Stefanski has been forced to change his public stance, suddenly claiming he's committed to Shedeur's development after months of dismissive comments. This dramatic reversal isn't genuine growth, it's damage control from someone who realizes his job might be on the line. So here's where we stand. Kevin Stefanski, the coach who thought he could quietly push out Shedeur Sanders, is now fighting for his own survival. The evidence we've examined, the revealing press conference, the systematic sabotage through game decisions, and the unprecedented industry backlash all point to one conclusion: this wasn't just poor coaching, it was deliberate discrimination. The irony is perfect. Stefanski's plan to make Shedeur Sanders look bad has backfired spectacularly. Instead of destroying a young quarterback's career, he's exposed his own bias and incompetence to the entire NFL world. The very tactics he used to undermine Shedeur are now being used against him by fans, former players, and analysts who see right through his agenda. But here's what happens next, and this is crucial. The Browns organization now faces a choice. They can continue supporting a coach whose bias has been exposed, whose decisions make no football sense, and whose treatment of players has drawn national criticism. Or they can acknowledge their mistake and make the change that's becoming inevitable. The pressure isn't going away. If anything, it's intensifying. Every day Stefanski remains as head coach is another day the Browns organization looks complicit in this discrimination. The fans are demanding accountability, the media is watching every move, and former players are speaking truth to power. What do you think should happen to Kevin Stefanski? Have you ever seen a coach so obviously biased against a player? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'm especially interested in hearing from Browns fans about how you feel about this situation. If you want to see more analysis of NFL controversies and behind-the-scenes drama, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. And if this video opened your eyes to what's really happening in Cleveland, share it with other NFL fans who need to see the truth about how Shedeur Sanders has been treated. The next video in this series will reveal what happens when organizations ignore this kind of pressure. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.